And this is a fourth wave of energy incoming July 10, 2020. An energy intensity window of 9 days, July 6, 2020, July 14, 2020, day 8, Monday, July 13, 2020. This is now the Dream Vision part of day 8. Let's begin. So, as the Dream Vision began, I found myself in front of the Giza Plateau, the Great Pyramid Complex. And behind the pyramids, the sky was changing. It was in flux, as if like all time was moving at a rapid pace and bringing your local galaxy or universe to a certain point in time coming. From there, it shifted to where it was if like I was in the water, but then I was also moving through the water, but then I was kind of like getting above the water or something to step up these stairs that was leading to the light. And I was being beckoned towards the light, that I had to go there, that there was a message or something that I had to receive or to get. And again, this is all taking place during the fourth wave. So I walked up the stairs, got to the top, and then it shifted to this sun, blasting out tons and tons and tons of energy, just constantly blasting out energy. And part of the message that was received there was the epoch is running. This epoch of time is running, and humanity needs to be better. So, and it was also something to do with the sun would burst forth into light or into life again shortly. Could be a year or two, maybe 2023, 24, 25, somewhere around there, that the sun would blast forward with tons and tons of energy. So it's as if like humanity or mankind has to be in a good place when the sun decides to burst forth all this energy, that humanity or mankind has been given a choice now at this time during the fourth wave to choose to be where to be when the sun does this. So then it shifted one more time, and now I was in front of these amazing emerald tablets, and each of the symbol was calling to me, saying humanity, mankind is at a crossroads and they need more and more information now. They're kind of like graying along, if you will. So each symbol was calling, and as if like each symbol was flying off the text and being embedded into me. So, and then it shifted one more, and that people or mankind or humanity needs to now begin to learn to understand how to formulate a light pyramid shape structure around our biofield, bioelectric magnetic field. And this will allow those who begin to gain this knowledge on this information to be in preparation for when the sun changes its energy output. So this is it's to allow the human or mankind to prepare for the changing of the epoch, and it will put them in a great place. And I will go into deeper knowledge on this as we go forward with the dream vision. So then it shifted once more, and again I was in front of text, and the text again started flying into me like in codes, like more codes. They were kind of golden in color, and they were flying off the text, and then they were formulating in front of me into code and then being moved around. And that what was said was mankind, humanity needs to be ready. So I'm also going to talk about that. And then it shifted into very ancient area, and the doors of knowledge was being opened and given to mankind and humanity. So I'll also talk deeper about that. Then I was taken up to the sky, and I was being brought towards the constellation of Orion, deeper and deeper. And of course, Orion is the hunter. So the power of space-time, if you will, is sending tons and tons of energy now. So then it shifted one more time, and I was in front of the Great Giza Plateau again, and it was then reaching out to the constellation of Orion that a time was coming where the knowledge of the pyramids would be opened or revealed or given or began to be understood at a higher level. And then once more I was brought back to the constellation of Orion, but this time it was different. I was in it, and then I was flying above it, and it began to shift and alter from the stars into an eagle or a phoenix. So a lot of power there from constellation Orion. So let's now go a little bit deeper into some of the meaning of this dream vision, some of the knowledge. And what I've done is I've gathered as much kind of like visual information to kind of aid in the understanding of the knowledge of the dream vision. So, and this dream vision came in and putting all together in a kind of chronological way that can be comprehended and understood. Takes a bit of time because gathering all the information to put it in a way that can be comprehended is the most important thing at this time. So let's begin. So here we are, we're at the beginning once more, and one of the most important things is also connected to the Great Pyramids and the Sphinx. So we're going to take a look at some information there, how the pyramids and the Sphinx are interconnected with the stars. Okay, so let's begin. One of the most important things there with Leo is Regulus, the king star. So we also have, let's see. So astronomically speaking, there are 3 constellations ruled by Leo that complete this final picture of prophecy and the Genesis 3:15 issue. Hydra, the old serpent, destroyed. Creator, the cup of divine wrath, poured out upon him. Corvus, the bird of prey, devouring him. This typology, by one interpretation, could be the answer to the age-old riddle of the Sphinx. In the Sphinx is the coded Alpha and Omega of Leo and Virgo. Leo, or the Lion of Judah, that is spoken in the Old Testament, is concluded in the New Testament's last book, that of Revelation. The last book of the Bible portrays the Lion of Judah, or Leo, treading upon the serpent. His feet are over the head of the Hydra, the great serpent, and just about to descend upon it and crush it. This echoes what Yahweh foretold would occur, as Messiah would crush the head of the serpent at the cross of Calvary. However, this Lion of Judah first had to come as a Lamb of God to atone for the sins of Eve and Adam, etc. And we see up here Yeshua ben Joseph and Yeshua ben David. So we take a look here. The purpose of this illustration is to chart the constellation of Leo, as it is the conjoined sign of the end from the beginning. That is the great sign of Virgo. It will be diagrammed to ascertain its prophetic implications as the end of biblical prophecy, as the angel told John in Revelation 19:10. The aim of all biblical prophecy is to tell of Jesus. Jesus is the Lion of Judah, the end, the consolation, and the beginning and end of the cosmic storyline, told without word in the heavenlies. The following description is taken from the work and research of E.W. Bollinger and will be in paraphrase format. The constellation of Leo has 95 stars. However, there are 9 that are more prominent and make up the points that configure a lion type design in the sky. As noted, Leo is the end of the Maserat or zodiac. It completes the full circle in Hebrew. The name for the sign of Leo is Arich, or Ariel, which means the lion. There are actually 6 Hebrew words for lion, and in Arabic, for example, it is Al-Hazad, like Azad of Syria, the Syrian lion, etc. At the heart of the sign of Leo, literally, is the core Leonis, or the heart of the lion. Its ancient name is Regulus, right? Lord of the harvest. The word is the root for regal, royal, and that of majesty and kingly demeanor. Leo is the constellation of the king of the universe, and it contains as heart the star of the king. Revelation 5:5 foretells of a time when time concludes and the judgment day comes. It will be none other than this line of Judah that is the only one worthy to break the seals of the scroll and pronounce its righteous judgments. This line of Judah is a man, Jesus, that became human, died and resurrected to qualify as he had no sin. He is given all power and authority because he laid down his life for sinners to redeem Eve's fall and Adam's and humanity's all inclusive. The following are the main stars and their prophetic meaning that defines the attributes, destiny, and meaning of the Messiah. Regulus, treading underfoot. Denebala, the judge or Lord who cometh. Al-Gehad, the exaltation. Zuzma, shining forth. Shatan, the rib, as in Adam's rib for Eve. Sakam, the joining. Al-Hasad, the punishment or treading of the lion. Alasit, the judge cometh who seizes. Al-Defra, the enemy put down. So let's continue forward. And then the dream vision went to the stairs. So this is connected to the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation has 22 parts to it. And let's have a look. According to the book of Revelation, the divine wrath of Jesus Christ is coming to earth upon a Christ rejecting humanity. These judgments in their consummation are directed towards the last years of the current world age. This is the case because thereafter the millennial kingdom of Christ is to be established on earth. As the last generation is coming into focus, it can be ascertained that the likelihood of all the effects of such scenarios that are affecting the sun, earth, and oceans is coming to pass. Given what science knows and statistical law of probability, that they will occur, just an issue of time. This illustration shows that there are 3 events in particular appear to correlate the 3 divine scroll judgments from the book of Revelation. The magnitude of such events leads one to theorize that perhaps such events could indeed constitute the wrath of the Lamb that the Lord will pour out on a rebellious last generation, according to what the book of Revelation depicts. It is uncharacteristic to have a depiction of a lamb with a wrath. Most lambs are known for their docility. Christ was slain as a lamb, led to the slaughter at his first advent. He will return to execute his vengeance upon his enemies as the lion at his second advent. It will be the time when the humble lamb that triumphed over the raging, prideful red dragon at the cross will have his vengeance in the end. So we look at what was, right? So we take a look at the age here. We go through the chapters a little bit. So upon the chart that correlate in 576, as we go along here, chapters, and we see Force Heartman, Abyss opened, and we have here from 17. If you want to follow along, you can grab a good old bubble. And Second Coming 17 to 22, it's connected with it, which is basically the return of the king. So we have so this is very important here. Some people are being called, certain crystals called to them now, and that's because they're getting messages from the coming of the New Jerusalem. As a bride, the wife of the Lamb, glory of Yahweh, the holy city, Jerusalem of jasper, crystal, great wall with 12 gates, 12 angels at each gate. At each gate, single pearl, 12 names of the tribes of Israel. 3 gates towards each of the cardinal points. City has 12 foundations, the names of the apostles. So these are some important crystals now: jasper, sapphire, agate, emerald, onyx, ruby, chrysolite, beryl, topaz, turquoise, jacinth, and amethyst. Very, very important, right? Measured at 12,000 stadia length, width, height. Great city of pure gold, transparent as glass. No temple, Lord God and Lamb are temple. No moon or sun nor shadows, God and Lamb are the lamp. Nations will spring their glory and honor. Gates never shut. Nothing impure will enter, only those in the book of light. And the dream vision then shifted to the sun. Let's take a look. So this is connected to the expansion of the sun, with more and more energy being released, and they were talking about 2020 as being a year where the sun would be absolutely gone crazy with sunspots, CMEs, but that hasn't been the case. The purpose of this is to show a possible association amongst the solar flares and Earth's geological and meteorological effects. There is no concrete proof that solar flares contribute to global change, but solar activity does seem to be affecting numerous air patterns simultaneously. The sun has been fairly quiet for a long time, and the natural cycles of Earth have been relatively constant up until around the year 2000. What happened then? For one, in 2003, the largest X-flare occurred, perhaps setting in motion irreversible consequences of life on Earth. The latest solar minimum 4 or 5 years of increased solar flares that was supposed to have started in the summer of 2009 started in late 2010. This lull has been deemed to be the quiet before the big solar storm of cycle 24 that is turning out to be. It appears the Earth is at a point of cosmic convulsion of sorts that may affect life negatively on Earth as you know it, right? So anyway, so we go through a couple of things here really quick. X-flare major events can trigger planet-wide radio blackouts and long-lasting radiation storms. M-class medium events can cause brief radio blackouts that affect Earth's polar regions. C-class small events, these have hardly any noticeable effects on Earth. B-class small events, these have hardly any noticeable effects on Earth. And A-class type A flares are the weakest. So some of the big flares that people keeping an eye on are M and X, right? Especially X flares. So if we look at the graph here that they laid out, and we go to, so here's cycle 24. See here. So this is cycle 24. This area here. Let me put some stuff here. Actually. So we're looking at this area here, right? So this is, they said that in 2009 here is when this would start, and in 2020 there would be massive X flares here in 2020, and because this would be the 11th year, but turned out to be incorrect. Right, the 11th year, but that turned out to be incorrect. So instead, then they said, oh, well, it's going to be 2010, 11 years, 2021, and solar cycle 25 will really kick off in like beginning of 2020, and then it'll take off in 2021. But that also didn't take place, because what you have to realize is that they're saying in the 11th year that there should be massive CMEs going on, so to round out that solar cycle. So that hasn't happened. Why has that not happened? Well, one of the big things that has happened is the sun. We take a look here. So the sun is currently in what's called a deep, it's entering into what's called a deep solar minimum. And without the 9 waves of energy, mankind would be in a very tough position right now. So the 9 waves of energy is kind of helping mankind to continue to navigate forward. If we take a look here, this is connected to some of the images that we show during the 4th wave, the interplanetary magnetic field lines and the bow shock. So Magnetopause, bow shock, solar wind. So the solar wind happens a lot when the sun is banging out CMEs and X flares. The solar wind comes along and it stops the Earth having increased cosmic rays. Cosmic rays are very important because what cosmic rays are high energy primary particles. Once they seep down into Earth, they turn into secondary particles. And there's certain places on the Earth where they don't have all the instruments right now. So your scientist and your humanity as a whole hasn't reached the next phase of the spectrum. And the next phase goes deeper than muons. So muons during cosmic rays, when cosmic rays are hitting the Earth and hitting the planet and seeping down, they turn into light spectrum, like a deep light spectrum, and you can only see them with certain instruments. Some of your scientists are nearly there yet, but soon they'll realise that the Great Pyramid complex is much more than what they understand. It's just that they don't have the instruments to see what's actually happening. And yeah, so that's that. So then it shifted to these emerald tablet text. So what I'm going to do here, because it is connected with the pyramid, we're just going to use pyramid in here, and let's see what we find. So we see here the history of the tablets translated in the following. We're just going to go over here. Look, I'm going to read this. So he was the builder of the Great Pyramid of Giza, erroneously attributed to Cheops. See the Great Pyramid by Doria. In it he incorporated his knowledge of the ancient wisdom, also securely secrete records and instruments of ancient Atlantis. So the Great Pyramid is a direct connection to Atlantis. People are searching all over the world for the great and high golden days of Atlantis. All they have to do is just study the Great Pyramid. It's not difficult. So again, we're just going to use our simple keyword, pyramid, and there we go. When the time came for him to leave Egypt, he erected the Great Pyramid. over the entrance to the great halls of Amenti, placed in it his records, and appointed guards for his secrets from amongst the highest of his people. In later times, the descendants of these guards became the pyramid priests, by which Thoth was deified as the god of wisdom. The recorder, by those in the age of darkness which followed his passing. In legend, the halls of Amenti became the underworld. The halls of the gods, where the soul passed after death for judgment. So it's very interesting that you take the journey of Ra, all connected to ancient Egypt, where Ra would have to go under the underworld and face Apep, which was this giant black serpent. And another name for Apep is Apophis. And it's quite amazing that there is an asteroid called Apophis that will approach Earth on April 13th, 2029, and is, of course, projected to return in around April 13th of 2036. So that's quite amazing that they actually called that asteroid Apophis. So, and of course that has to do with a two sun, because Ra was deified as the sun, and Apep, or Apophis in the ancient text, was would swallow up the sun, would swallow Ra up if Ra didn't make it back for the sun rising. So it had to do with sunset and sun rising. So the sun setting, and every day Ra would fight to have the sun return. So we'll keep going. And the tablets translated in this work are 10. Some 1300 years before BC Egypt, the ancient Kem was in turmoil, and many delegations of priests were sent to other parts of the world. Among these were some of the pyramid priests who carried with them the emerald tablets as a talisman, by which they could exercise authority over the less advanced priestcraft of races descended from other Atlantean colonies. The tablets were understood from legend to give the bearer authority from Thoth. So is it possible that there's a great battle going on Earth right now to gain possession and authority from the tablets? And highly possible. It should be understood that the Great Pyramid of Egypt has been and still is a temple of initiation into the mysteries. Jesus, Solomon, Apollonius, and others were initiated there. So that's why the Great Pyramid is very important. So I'll read this and then we'll move on here. Raise thy over the entrance a doorway, a gateway, leading down to Amenti. Few there would be with courage to dare it. Few past the portal, the dark Amenti, raised over the passage, I, a mighty pyramid, using the power that overcomes earth force, gravity. Deep and yet deeper placed I, a force house or chamber. From it carved I, a circular passage reaching almost to the great summit. There in the apex set I the crystal, sending the ray into the time-space, drawing the force from out of the ether, concentrating upon the gateway to Amenti. So this is very important. So the Great Pyramid was built over a certain passageway that then was connected into the apex of the pyramid. And as I said before, not all your instruments on Earth have the capabilities to understand the hidden passageway that's going to begin to activate shortly. So, built by the Great Pyramid, patterned after the Pyramid of Earth Force. So see that? The Pyramid of Earth Force. So the Earth Force, when seen, creates a pyramid shape, right? That's why the dream vision showed two pyramids interlocking to create the biofield electromagnetic shape for the human to prepare as the Earth Force begins to increase, burning eternally so that it too might remain through the ages. In it, I built my knowledge of magic science, so that I might be here when again I return from Amente. I, while I sleep in the halls of Amente, my soul roaming free with incarnate, dwell among men in this form or another. So even though thought may still be just having a little sleepy time, his soul can be out on the earth preparing mankind and being ready with knowledge, giving out knowledge to mankind to be prepared for the pyramid of Earth Force. See? Deep neath the image lies my secret. Search and find in the pyramid I built. Each to the other is the keystone. Each the gateway that leads into life. Follow the key I have behind me. Seek, and the doorway to life shall be thine. Seek thou in my pyramid. Deepen the passage that ends in a wall. Use thy key of the seven, and open to thee the pathway will fall. Now unto thee I have given my wisdom. Now unto thee I have given my way. Follow the pathway, solve thou my secrets. Unto thee I have shown the way. It is highly likely that I will begin to go deeper and deeper into the Emerald Tablets of Thought as time is progressing forward in the time, space, and Earth Force. Humanity and mankind will most likely need more of this information as we go forward here, as the world continues forward. So let's continue. So, as we talked about, within the dream vision, then two pyramids interlocking, pyramid Earth Force, that this biofield or biomagnetic field would need to be generated around the human biofield or mankind to be in preparation for the changing of the Earth Force, the pyramid Earth Force, which is also connected to the changing of the sun, of course, the bow shock, the magnetosphere, the Schumann Resonance, all the things we've talked about during the fourth wave. So let's take a look. So this has to do with what's called the Merkaba. And the Merkaba is a joining of two pyramids around the biofield of the human being in preparation for the great pyramid Earth Force change that's going to come. I will most likely have to do a separate video just on this to begin to go through the breadths and what has to be done, how to increase the biofield, and how to prepare your Merkaba. And as you can see, it directly connected to the dream vision with the two pyramids. It's also directly connected to the Great Pyramid, the apex chamber that still hasn't been revealed to the world, but is slowly beginning to activate because the Great Crystal is being provided tremendous amount of energies now from Thoth, who was using the waves of energy to activate the crystals across the earth And again, the crystals are directly connected to the New Jerusalem that's coming. So this is all interconnected. Each piece is a part of the great master plan. So, and as we can see, you begin to increase the spin it in different various ways, and it has to do with the breath, and beginning to prepare all your energy fields for the increased incoming changes in the biomagnetic field of all humanity. And this is everybody. So those that don't begin to prepare will it's really hard to say exactly what's going to happen here as the Earth force begins to change with the pyramid Earth force shape. So, and of course, this is where they actually get the start of David. It shows that the great knowledge has been completely lost. The Star of David is directly connected into the Earth, the Sun, and the universe, because it has to do with the energy spin flows of the biomagnetic feedback loop. Again, it's all to do with breath, preparing the biofield of the human, and using the energy connection of the palms and the hands and the fingers as well. So this will become more and more important as the Earth force begins to shift as it gets closer to, especially when it gets closer to the ninth wave. So as I said, I'm going to do another separate video to go deeper into this, and I'll do it, just take the time, we'll go through the breaths, we'll do a video, we'll see how it all works, how it goes together, and this can be a reference video for the breath. And this is why it's called the breath of life, as the word is a breath as well. So it's all interconnected to everything. It's just that the knowledge was lost from the golden age down to the silver, the bronze, and now currently mankind is in the dark age, but it's getting ready to enter a new age. So the knowledge is being re-given to mankind to get ready. And you will see as the energies increase, especially with the waves of energy, these exercises and what needs to be done will become more and more important. It'll allow people to begin to prepare in all ways, not just mind, body, and spirit, but their biofield, the electromagnetic earth force that connects to the earth, to the sun, and all that good stuff. So, and of course, we do find this shape all through the great avatars that come. They promote this shape here because it is changing from one epoch to another. So then the dream vision shifted one more time into text. Let's take a look. So this is the book of Enoch, and Enoch walked with the gods and the watchers, and this book was left out of the great books. They took it out because they wanted mankind to be in the dark about how your current earth, your local star, the binary change that happens from one epoch to another, the galactic center, the photons of light that changes from age to age. So again, we're just going to use a simple keyword, pyramid, see what we come up with. And we find here the angel Sotiel is mentioned at 32.2. East of the Red Sea, there are suggestions based on weathering data that the Sphinx is much older, pre-10,000 BC, than the pyramids. So this is a possible candidate for Sotiel. Thought, architect of the universe. Mainly a book about the mathematics of stone circles and pyramids, but related to Enoch's time period in places. This is the book that mentions the South Sandwich Islands. So that's called the Book of Enoch. And again, I'll probably have to do a complete separate video, maybe a video series on this book. Absolutely extraordinary, the stuff that's in here about the time before the time, going back in time. So very important. But again, it's after being hidden from mankind because you're in the dark ages, but you're entering a new age now. So, and then it shifted one more time into the great ancient doors opening, knowledge being given, more knowledge being given to mankind to be prepared, to be ready, to make the choice, to prepare the Merkaba energy biofield. And again, we're just going to use our keyword and have a look. So Jesus remained in Egypt until his final initiation in the Great Pyramid, in the same rites as were set 10,500 years previously during the time of Ra-Ta in Egypt. Then Jesus returned to Palestine and was baptized by his cousin John, who had also trained in Egypt and was initiated in the pyramid. John had returned before Jesus had prepared a way for him. I'll read from here down to here for this one. This is a portion of the initiation. It is a part of the passage through that to which each soul is to attain in its development, as has the world through each period of their incarnation in the earth. As is supposed the record of the earth through the passage through the tomb or the pyramid, is that through which each entity, each soul, as an initiate must pass for the attaining to the releasing of the same, as indicated by the empty tomb which has never been filled. Only Jesus was able to break same, as it became that which indicated his fulfillment. Amazing. So I'll read from here. The prophecies, where and how and when during these periods from his 12th to his 15th, 16th year, when he went to Persia and then to India. In Persia, when his father died. In India, when John first went to Egypt, where Jesus joined them and both became the initiates in the pyramid or temple there. And okay, so I'll read from here. Maybe I'll read a little bit more, but before they moved from their small buildings and sacred enclosure at En Gedi to the ancient buildings on Mount Carmel, their principal activities seem to lie largely concerned with the translation of ancient manuscripts and the preservation of such traditions and records as constituted the foundation of the teachings. And remember, all the information from thought was given to the priests, who had to make sure it was preserved from every epoch. When the Essenes came to change their location, their greatest problem was the secret movement of their manuscripts. Fortunately, they succeeded in preserving the rarest of the manuscripts that came out of Egypt. Together with their ancient traditions, stories, and teachings, it is from these that we receive much of our knowledge regarding the mystic brotherhood. That is, until the south chamber of the Great Pyramid is opened. The Casey records declare these are yet to be found, and these records of the close associations of the master of the interpretation of the man, the Christ, in the tomb yet to be uncovered in the pyramid. And after due preparation has been made, the records declare he, the Christ, is in space, in the force that impels through faith, through belief, in the individual entity, as a spirit entity, hence not in the body in the air, but one that may come at will to him who wills to be one with the acts of love to make that same possible. For he shall come as he has seen him go, in the body he occupied in Galilee, even the body that he formed, that was crucified on the cross, that rose from the tomb, that walked by the sea, that appeared to Simon and to Philip, that appeared to me, even I, John. And then the dream vision shifted once more to Orion, and this has to do in relation to the Millennium Kingdom and what's laid out in the Great Pyramid, the amazing mathematics and geometry that's laid out, the sacred geometry through the pyramid. And if you look here, 1025 AD, years time, 2025 again. I might have to do a complete video just on this to go through what this is speaking about and how deep it is. But let's take a look here. The purpose of this study is considered the numerical measurement of the Great Pyramid of Giza as it pertains to the length of its premier base. So that's the main study there, right? So we'll come back, we'll probably do a video on this as well. So this has to do directly connected to the Great Pyramid and the coming change of the Millennium Kingdom, 1,000 years, right? Where you could say that Jesus came before as Messiah, then Joseph, and you had 1986 years, and then Messiah ben David would come as the time would begin to shift from one age to the next. So then the dream vision shifted back to being in front of the Great Pyramid, and how the Great Pyramid is connected with precise sacred geometry to the pyramids of Giza, and how it's all connected, and how it's also interconnected with Mars Cydonia as well, which is absolutely amazing. So I think we'll take a time. Orion, motif of the celestial city of the Elohim, right? And then it shifted to the changing from Orion to an amazing, powerful celestial change in the stars to an eagle or a phoenix. And again, it's all connected to the Great Pyramid, the lining up of Orion, the constellation. And as I said, as we go forward, I'll do some more information as the dream vision is connected directly to Orion, and how Orion is connected to the Great Pyramid, how the Great Pyramid is connected to the chamber that still hasn't been discovered in the apex, how the apex is directly connected to the change in the sun, how the changes in the sun is connected to the pyramid earth force, how the pyramid earth force is connected to the breath that people need to begin to practice to increase their biofield, biomagnetic energy, how it's all interconnected with the changing from one epoch to the next. So this now concludes this dream vision, and as I said, it looks like I'll have to do more videos in relation to the separate parts of it to go deeper into it, to give more knowledge on it, and begin to give people the information that's needed for what's coming, to prepare, especially from the fourth wave to the ninth wave. It's going to be critical, very, very important that people begin to study and understand the biofield of their electromagnetic fields, begin to expand them, make them stronger, which makes their wheels of energy stronger. It's all interconnected to the changes that's happening in the earth, the bow shock, solar wind, cosmic rays, the sun, the photons that's coming from the galactic center. It's all interconnected. It's all one thing that's happening. So as I said, this dream vision was connected to the fourth wave of energy incoming on July 10th, 2020. All energy intensity window of 9 days, July 6th, 2020, July 14th, 2020. This was day 8, Monday, July 13th, 2020.